So this is sort of starting to turn into like a little bit of a mini series where I take some comments that I've been thinking about recently and then, expand upon them in this sort of vloggy format. Personally, I'm really enjoying making these videos. They're very easy to make and I think they're fun to record. So let me know if you guys are actually enjoying them and I'll be more than happy to keep doing them. I'll keep doing them either way, but let me know what your thoughts are. So what I want to talk about today was why I like to cover all sorts of software. So not everything I cover on this channel is the most productive piece of software. So obviously I'll cover things like terminal file managers and improved Vim file trees and better Discord clients. Actually, that's probably in the other category, or things like the Vi mode and Alacrity, or just general ways to improve your Linux workflow. All of that stuff is really cool and is really useful. But then I'll also go and cover things like Sixcord, which is a terminal Discord client and doesn't really have all the features of Discord that you're probably going to want. Or I'll cover things like Mapski, which is a terminal-based world map that displays the world map in ASCII art, or Diskonaut, which is a graphically, terminally way to explore your file system and free up disk space. And that's not the most productive tool you can use. So I thought, why don't I explain why I go over this software? Because it's not like I'll ever run out of productive software. I don't know if you guys know how I get my content. Most of my content I get from scraping things like various subreddits, and every single day people are releasing new scripts, they're releasing new software, or they're discovering things that just have existed in the past and they're just rediscovering them. And my list has like 600 things in it, and that's just on the software list. And that's not including tutorials or vlogs like this. That's just the software. So I think I'm good for the next 2 or so years. And a lot of that software is the useful software. If I was to cut out the stuff that's not, I might lose like 100 things. Obviously, it does make it a little bit easier to cover the random stuff as well, but it's not just because I'll run out of content. I could always go like the Arch BBS, and there's a bee near me. Okay, the bee is gone. I don't have a bee allergy, I just don't like bees. Anyway, I could go to the Arch BBS, and there's always awesome software coming out there, so there's always software I can look at. But my idea is that not everyone is using Linux in the same way. There are obviously people who are like me, who are, the Linux power users who want to use Linux to do their job and actually get real work done. And then there's other people, not to say that these are mutually exclusive categories, but then there's other people who like to make screenshots for Unix porn, or any of these places where you can show off fancy, colorful things and things that just aren't that, I guess, useful. And those communities are fairly large. So I thought, if I wasn't covering the software that appealed to those communities, I'd be sort of doing a bit of an injustice. Obviously, I don't have to make software, or I don't have to make videos on software for everyone, but because that's such a large part of the Linux community, I feel like I sort of have to make that software. And I'm not saying that as a, saying I don't like covering that software. I really like looking at that software as much as I like looking at, fern.vim, which is a really awesome Vim file tree that makes it, it's so much better than NetTrue. Honestly, it's way better than NetTrue. I love that software as much as I love looking at things like, say, Pywall. Even though on my personal system, I wouldn't even dream of thinking, I wouldn't even dream of running Pywall on a day-to-day basis. I think running Pywall is a waste of time, and trying to get your color scheme based on your wallpaper, sure, it looks cool, but I think it's kind of pointless. And you've probably noticed from my color scheme and just my general aesthetic on my distro when you see my videos, my theme is very, very basic, and there's a very good reason for that. Partially, it's because if I don't make it basic, I will spend literally all of my time trying to configure it. And the other reason is because it's so basic, it's very easy to integrate with everything else, because it's just black with a blue line on it. That's very easy to fit into other themes. So even though on my personal system, I wouldn't even think of running Pywall on a day-to-day basis, I still think it's very important to actually cover on the channel, and or not just Pywall, other applications like that, and make it so people who didn't know about it, who actually are interested in those sides of Linux, actually do have more things they can play around with. because I'm making videos every single day, or I guess I'm making 7 videos a week and I'm releasing them every day, but it's still 7 videos a week. If I was to only do the productive stuff, I feel like I would start to, tire myself out from that and really not be able to properly assess them. If I was, there's like 10 different Vim status lines and 10 different Vim file trees. If I just did 10 of those in a row, I feel like I would lose the ability to properly judge them because they would all start to blend into each other. If I was only looking at things that, are really useful, I think I wouldn't be able to make a proper assessment. So I kind of put videos like this one, and I put videos like Disconaut and 6 Chord in there to sort of break it up. It's not like it's a hard job or anything like that, but sometimes it can get, I guess, a little bit monotonous when you're always just going over the exact same things, just doing the exact same cycle. So instead of letting myself fall into that cycle and letting myself lose the ability to properly judge stuff, I feel like going about it this way is probably going to create better content for you guys, even if some of you guys don't watch every single video. I don't expect everyone to watch every video, but if I can break up the videos into a way that makes it so I can always produce the best content, I feel like when you do decide to watch a video, you'll get me at my 100% rather than me trying to pretend like I really have a care for this application when I've already looked at 10 of the exact same things. But if there is ever anything you want me to specifically cover, feel free to leave a comment down below or in my Discord or anything like that, any way you can get in contact with me. And lately I've been trying to put the suggestions toward the front of the list because I always have that backlog if people aren't suggesting stuff, but I feel like I've put off going through suggestions for so long. There was one video recently, the video on T-Drop. Someone commented on that video saying, I've been waiting for this video for 2 months, and they had actually asked me to do the video a long time ago, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So I've started putting that content to the front, just so I can actually, just get that stuff out that people actually want to see. Obviously, I'm not going to do every single suggestion. Some of the suggestions are things that I've already done before, so I'm not going to do those again, or things that I don't really think will make good videos, or just there's certain topics where I don't think I can really break it down in a way that I can make a good video, or right now especially, I can't really take on any massive projects as much as I want to do things like mess around with FBV. That is a pretty large project, and I can't really sit down and put that much time into it. So right now, I'm sort of taking on the more little projects, and then once I finish university and I have some more time to mess around, that's when I'll start taking on those big projects. So feel free to suggest them, and I'll add them to the list, but for now, I'm probably going to stay with the little stuff. So I think that covers basically everything I wanted to say for today. If I try to say anything else, as always in these vlogs, I typically start to ramble. I have been, restarting them when I notice myself rambling at the start, but sometimes it sort of happens. It's just sort of the nature of not having any sort of prompt there or any sort of, script or anything like that. Sometimes it becomes a problem. I try to avoid it, and I feel like I'm doing better than I did in my older content, especially if you go back, like way back to the start. Go watch some of the stuff where I was sort of depressed at the start. That stuff, not very good. I feel like the content now, if I was to run across my channel, I would subscribe to my channel. And I think that's an improvement. If you're making content and you feel like you would subscribe to your own content, that probably means you're doing something at least passably okay, because I'm a very critical person myself. It's not like I accept that my content's good at any point. I always think it's pretty bad. But you guys seem to be enjoying it, so maybe I'm doing something right. So I think that's pretty much everything for me. I'll cut back to when I'm at home to read out my supporters. So I think that's pretty much everything for me, but before I go, I would like to thank my supporters. So a special thank you to Joachim Corbinian, Andrew Craig, Nathan Monster, Joseph, Peter D. Road, Tony Donald, John, Marek Mikkel, Nephite, Tees, and Zilva. If you want to go and support my work, there'll be some links down below to my Patreon, Subscribe Star, Cointree, and all of that fun stuff. I've got my podcast, Tech Over Tea, available on Library and YouTube for the video version, and the audio version available anywhere you can listen to audio podcasts. I've also got this channel available on Library, BitTube, and BitChute if you don't want to watch it on YouTube. So I think that's pretty much everything for me, and I'm out.